It's your favorite Prince of the Y because I ask questions. Today we have special but humble guest. Introduce yourself, man.
Not sure what camera to look at. I'm Martyn.
Oh, sorry. It's all right.
Misleading me.
Yeah.
I'm Martyn and I'm a photographer. Yeah.
What are you gonna say?
Yeah, I think.
Okay.
Nice and to the point.
I thought you were gonna plug the journalism.
I don't know. We'll get to that in conversation. I guess.
Okay. So, seeing as you're a photographer, I think something that would be right to talk about as far as a lot of your work I've noticed is with subjects, with models, right? So as far as choice of models, when you're scouting models, what's criteria you look for?
I think it's something that's quite hard to quantify. Really, it's not like in my mind that if someone has this exact features, they'll be a great model. It's just a sense of you'll just see people and just know. So something I'm more aware of is that I would like my work to kind of like reflect how diverse society actually is. I think anyone who's sort of like into fashion knows that like a lot of the models that get cast for sort of like luxury brands are sort of typecast, and then the sort of models that it'd be in a sportswear brand are sort of like typecast. So that's something I definitely want to veer away from. Like, I know for modding, it's sort of like if you like a mixed race, it'll be put with like athletics campaigns and stuff, and then if it's like, I don't know, Chanel or Yves Saint Laurent or something, it will always be sort of like a very skinny like white person. So
Right.
I think in terms of my work there isn't specific criteria, but I do like to, it's almost the opposite of criteria. Like, I don't want like my casting to be confined by the way the fashion industry already is.
Yeah, I hear that because obviously you've got brands that have had a long reign, such as Celine.
Yeah.
If you look at the casting for Celine, it's, to be honest, it's appalling. Like
Yeah.
the selection is I think it was autumn winter 19. I was watching over it, and every single cast was pretty much skinny, white, ginger hair.
Yeah.
That was the casting, and it's like there's no excuse not to have diversity in the year we live in.
I mean,
right now.
I suppose if it was something as specific as like ginger hair, then maybe that's some sort
That's
of
some kind of-
Well, don't get me wrong, there is the odd show where maybe everyone does look exactly the same because it's like part of the concept.
Yeah.
But brands like, I think Comme des Garçons, for example, I think they've been doing catwalk shows for like over 30 years and they've never had like a black or mixed race model ever. So with someone like that, it's sort of like, no, this is like an intentional decision. I wouldn't necessarily say that like if there's a show of 20 models, every show like has to have like a percentile with like black people, because then sometimes you're just throwing people in for no reason. But I think at the same time there is like a very sort of like conservative, like stringent understanding of what models look like, and I think as we've seen with like Rihanna's Fenty and other brands who aren't afraid to like be a bit different, everyone sort of benefits from more diverse casting.
Thing is with that as well, that's getting the recognition it deserves, because people are recognizing that it is its own kind of niche.
People
Do
love
you know
it.
what I mean?
So people can't hide behind the idea that we have to keep things conventional because otherwise people won't buy into it. There's a thing about people actually crying out for it, so everyone has something to gain, really.
But the reason I mention or ask you that question was because when I look at your work, you always seem to choose one, diverse models, but also models with an interesting look. That's the best way of putting it. When I think about shooting, I think especially if you're talking about shooting for brands, the environment that you tend to be put within, just from what I've seen and what people have told me, you don't get a chance always to talk to the model, conversate with them, get them comfortable, and I feel like can sometimes be the be all or end all.
I think it heavily depends what it is. Like as I said before, the more commercial something is, the less kind of like laissez-faire the atmosphere is. So I did this like commercial thing for Beats recently with like this footballer, and with that it was very much like okay, he needs to be here at this time. It's like very regimented. Like we didn't really stop and have a long chat at any point. Don't get me wrong, he was a really nice person, like everyone was sound, but because of the nature of the job,
That's what I mean. You don't have time to.
But to be honest, the majority of stuff I do sort of manage to have that. Like I feel like most shoot days I've had are like pretty relaxed. It's the organisation and the sort of like bureaucracy up to the point of shooting that's difficult. But I think I've been quite lucky in that respect, really, and I'm quite a relaxed person. So
yeah, man, 100%. Yeah, because I'm thinking. I think something I've noticed is that, you know, certain people will, regardless of how comfortable they feel, they'll still be able to give that, I don't know whether you want to call it a connection or emotion behind the shot.
Yeah.
Because I feel like a lot of photography that I admire comes through, especially like portrait photography, comes through like the intimacy of the look
like
that
the
someone gives.
between them.
Yeah, 100%. So, yes, it's good hearing your take on that.
I think I'd say there's sort of a difference. So with people who I might have just seen in the street, who might have like never modelled before, or just friends and stuff.
Yeah.
If I'm in a situation where I'm shooting somebody like that, it's less likely to be like a massive commercial job. So although they might be less confident being photographed because like it's less of a pressure situation and I'm like friendly with them, it's just calm. And on the flip side, times where it might be someone doing a more commercial kind of thing, they're more likely to be someone who's just completely comfortable being photographed whether they know you or not. So either way it works.
Yeah.
I think you know from like the sort of stuff you do, the actual technical element of like doing something creative, whether it be graphic design or photography or whatever, you'll get to a point where you know how all your equipment works and it's just not difficult. Like it's like second nature. So I'd say the sort of like relational element of making sure your subjects are comfortable and give you what they need, that's part of the
like the experience essentially. When you come to set.
That's part of what you're doing as a job. Like any brand or magazine like who's going to hire me, they could find maybe 100 people who knows how a camera works or how Photoshop works as well as I do.
Yeah.
And it's just differences in like how you retouch or you approach and stuff like that that differentiates you. So I think like shoots are as easy or difficult as you make them, depend on how good you are at like relating to people.
Yeah, I think people skills is always one that you need.
Yeah,
as anyone in the creative industry, because it's a very, how I see it is the creative industry is a very social industry.
Yeah, massively.
100%. So, and I think even if you're not directly involved with someone else that's in that industry, you don't cross paths. You're likely to cross paths in the future with them somehow, some way or another.
I can't think of a time I've met someone in the past 4 years who doesn't either know who I am or I know who they are, or will know mutual people.
That's it, man.
But the notion of someone being a complete stranger just isn't a thing now.
100%. Like today, you coming down to the studio and saying about, oh, is it Tom's studio? And I was like, no way.
Yeah. I went to uni with him for 3 years.
Another point that I was going to mention, as far as fashion photography, obviously having a lot of experience in that yourself. I'm talking about relationships between the subject and the photographer sometimes. I think a good example of that is Ray's Corrupted Mind.
Okay.
And have you heard of him? So he's essentially Travis Scott's photographer.
Okay.
But pretty much all of Travis's pictures that you see on his Instagram, they're taken by Ray. Okay. So, but all the shots that Ray tends to get, very distinctive style. I'll have to pull some up, but very distinctive style. But they're always you can sense that connection between, especially when he's shooting Travis, you can sense that.
It sounds similar to, have you heard of Calum Dennis? He does like a lot of music videos and stuff, but like when Stormzy's like on tour, he'll do sort of all of that stuff, and I think he shot like some of SL's videos. But anyway, the point I was alluding to is that I think like he's just from a similar area to a lot of those people, and you can sort of see that in his work, like the sort of like just jovial friendship he has with them, where you can see like how natural they look in the photos.
I'm gonna pull up a picture actually, just so you know, just so you understand what I'm talking about.
I'm not gonna say what's on your phone before.
Bro. that's not the Travis shots, but to be fair, it's better off. I guess Insta-up. I'll show you after.
Yeah. Have you heard of someone called Gunnar
Star
as well?
Yeah, it's very
similar.
similar. I see the resemblance.
Yeah.
But I think because of the society we live in now, as far as technology, I feel like photography as an art form is very oversaturated. Because obviously if you have a phone, that phone usually is like decent quality. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think
so. People start to think, I've got an iPhone, so I can, be a pro photographer.
I think that's one of those things that, like, if you're not in the industry, it would definitely seem that way. But
yeah.
I don't feel that people who aren't good photographers are getting booked for like
big jobs.
Yeah, so like, I mean, there might be the odd one who, I don't know, might have hundreds of thousands of followers or whatever, so it gets sort of like involved that way. But in my experience, like, my clients always like want to see a portfolio and like sort of resume of what you've done and stuff. So
I'm also commenting on just it as a whole art form, I guess.
It's more inclusive, but I think that's a good thing. Like, in terms of the
100%, bro.
The saturation of like the career space, I don't think there has been one. I think there's a saturation of the fact that a lot more people like photography, but I think that's good.
Because I talk to a lot of people that get mad about it, as far as the side of things where, you will get people that will buy an iPhone and then claim that they're a photographer. Do you know what I mean?
I don't know, you have to think, I don't know, I think anyone who's that bothered about that's weird though. Like,
yeah, man.
I mean, I know it's like a pervasive thing, but it's like, say if I want to be a photographer as a job, if other people who like photography and enjoy doing that in their spare time, like, that's not an affront to me. Like, it's just nice to see people doing stuff. I was thinking, in terms of like the competition element, like, no amount of competition matters if you're the best anyway. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, as many people who might do photography, as long as I'm confident that my work's good and I'm consistently like putting out good work, then I'll still.
I don't want to pop this.
It's alright.
Whereas
then, like, I feel like I'll still get jobs and stuff, so it's fine. I'm good, mate.
Yeah, 100% though. I think it's a strange one, because there's even, I think, do you know how I see it? I see it as, if you're getting invested in an art form and you're putting your energy into that, it's better than you not doing anything, because people evolve, people change. That might be the person that ends up, instead of from buying an iPhone and shooting on an iPhone to buying a DSLR, and then from buying a DSLR to doing shoots. Do you know what I mean? So
like
it's progressive, man. The way I'm trying to think is progressive. So instead of like marginalizing that person into a box of negativity, it's like, okay, what can you do from that? You might not be doing greatness right now, but you can go off what you're doing now.
And even if people like just enjoy it, like, I don't think enough onus is put on like
just enjoyment.
People doing things just because they like it. Like, if someone like wants to start rapping, like making music, I wouldn't say like, if you're not on course to win a Mercury Prize or Grammy, then you shouldn't be doing it. You might just enjoy it. I feel like anything, if someone's doing it, they like doing it, and it's not like harmful, then it can only really be a good thing.
What I was saying to you earlier is, everyone needs something, like an element of escapism.
Yeah, like, definitely.
Like me saying to you, like, or you telling me, like, FIFA.
Yeah. All,
like
that I bang on about all the time.
Yeah, see,
so
it's a bit of a funny one with me with FIFA. The last FIFA I owned was FIFA 16. Yeah. Obviously, that's a couple of years old now. But if I'm at like one of the boys' yards, obviously most of them have got FIFA.
Yeah.
So I'll bang it. Like, obviously, when it's, I think I enjoy it more so when it's like you're playing against your mate. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. If it's just online, I'm gonna probably get murked anyway. Like, there's so many people that are just sick at FIFA online.
Yeah.
There's more so like interest for me of like thrashing my mate like 3-0 or something like that. You know what I mean?
I went once. What day is it? Yeah, I went once to my mate Isaac's on Sunday. Yeah, mate, him and his mate just held corn all night. I absolutely battered them so many times.
It's online or in person?
No, in person.
In person.
Went to his yard.
Oh, to his yard.
And showed him it's my yard now.
Yo, I'm the leader. You know what I mean?
Is it?
See this room, yeah? This is mine. We'll move on to the next segment, which is called collaboratings. So it's where we show a bunch of, or talk about a bunch of designers that have collabed on a project, and we rate them. We get you to rate them from fire to fired. So fire being great, fired being trash.
Yeah.
So the first one I feel like we should talk about is, I don't know if you've seen Bape and Uggs.
Oh god. Yeah.
Tell me how you feel about that one, and then I'll tell you how I feel.
I'm not a fan. It's
Okay.
fired. I mean, yeah, not really got much else to say. Just not a fan of it.
Okay.
I don't know though. I feel like with clothes I don't like and stuff, I don't have like strong negative opinions about clothes. Do you know what I mean? So I can't imagine sitting out with clothes and not actively hating it. It's more just like, just don't think it's nice, and then just won't think about it again.
Yeah. For me, that's in the trash, man. That's in the trash. Because mainly because a lot of Bape stuff, when they do collabs, to me, the collabs don't make sense for the brand. There's a lot of collabs that they've done that don't make sense for the brand. That's another one that, to me, doesn't make sense for the brand. I mean, there's been worse.
They did a Minions one, didn't they?
Yeah, and I kind of got that because it was more geared towards the. So you got Bape, and you've got, I forget what it's called, the kid version of Bape. So there's like a separate line, but it was geared more towards the little ones.
Oh, okay. Fair.
So I got it to a degree, but like they did a Coca-Cola collab. I was just like,
see, that makes way more sense to me.
You think?
Though. Yeah, like I feel like the Minions one, it might be geared towards kids, but because of how much Bape stuff costs, like however old people are who watch Despicable Me, they shouldn't have the disposable income for that.
Man like Gru.
Yeah, they must be like 7. Whereas Coke, because it's like a worldwide brand, and like branding's about recognition in a way. I feel like seeing something that everyone will have grown up seeing, like reappropriated with Baker yeast vision, is kind of interesting.
Yeah, no, I hear that. Yeah. So the next one is, I believe it was Virgil and Evian.
Oh, okay. No, I have seen.
You seen that?
Actually, yeah,
I was gonna say it's Off-White, but I think it's Virgil, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Give me your thoughts.
I don't know. I feel as though I don't have a strong enough opinion either way. I'd never spend more money than necessary on water because I think that's just dumb.
Yeah, but it doesn't have to be a justified reason. You can just say. Like,
okay, good. Yeah, I'll just say fired because I think it's more than unnecessary.
Yeah, 100% with me. I'm just thinking when it comes to collaborative projects with a water brand.
Yeah,
I'm just not on that. Like, why are we trying to upmarket water?
I was gonna say, well, like, maybe
why are we trying to do that?
Maybe it's like an.
I'm cool with my normal Evian. You get me?
Yeah, exactly. I kind of feel like the sort of like commodification of water in itself is something I don't really like. Like even like books and Evian and stuff like that. Like I get it, but the fact that like water, when it's something that there's so much of on Earth, and then most people in the world don't have it, for it to then be turned into some sort of like luxury, like,
do you know what I mean?
Item is kind of booky.
Yeah, to me it's 100% books, but yeah, I'll quickly touch on just plastic as well, man. Like, obviously, it's almost, to me, it feels like it's, again, one, it's making water luxury, but also glamorizing plastic to a degree. Most of the collabs. So, yeah, next one is Comme des Garçons and the Nike Shucks.
Oh,
Seen them ones?
With like the chains on them.
With the chains on it, yeah.
I actually quite like those.
See, so I tried to cut them because I think it was more sentimentally. Growing up, people used to go down that. We used to have cages.
Like football cages.
Football cages, yeah. So we'd be like, oh, yeah, we go down to the cage. And it always used to be the bougie man that had peas. Yeah, that used to pull up in the shots, man. Yeah. You used to get so much power off them shots, bro. 99 shot power, like 95 curl.
As soon as you put them on.
Bend it like Beckham, swear. It was crazy.
No, those are fire.
Yeah, I mess with them for the sentimental value. and also the little, because sometimes it's the little tweaks that are made to a iconic shoe.
Yeah.
So as far as like what Virgil did with particularly, it wasn't the whole range, it was more so the Jordan 1. The way he deconstructed the Jordan 1. Little details like that. He didn't do too much to it, but it made it feel like a shoe of his own while still being a Jordan 1.
Yeah, see, that's what I like more with collaborations, because with Bape, I feel like they're sort of the most obvious brand for doing it.
Yeah,
it's more a case of whoever they're collaborating with, they'll just take one of their products and then just put Bape camo all over it. It's a collaboration technically, but to me, it's more about like utilising creativity from both brands, and I feel like just whacking logos together isn't doing that.
Yeah, you always know normally the number one failure to a collab is just when you can recognise that two logos have just been
when you
literally
when it's a product that already exists just with another logo. That's why the Pius Ralph Lauren collaboration. I think it's from like last year or the year before.
Oh yeah,
I thought that was like
years ago.
The thing is, I wouldn't wear any of the stuff, but I think that's the best collaboration that I've seen, just in the sense that like I don't think of Pius or Ralph Lauren as being semi-brands with each other at all. But looking at the range, it's sort of like, creatively, this is somewhere in between these two brands. So to find that sort of like
middle point,
to find that spot between such different brands actually shows like design innovation.
100%. The last one, actually, we got two more, but I'll mention shit. Kiko and Asics.
Yeah.
You see that one?
Yeah.
I'm referring to the first
the
one.
Neon ones. Yeah.
So it had like the high eccentric, it's like almost like a mid tap.
Yeah.
But from the one angle, it looks like a low tap. But so on the inside, I think it was like low, and then on the outside, it comes up slightly higher.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, Kiko in general, man. I think he's one of those designers that just majority of things I'm rating at the moment.
Yeah, see, to be fair, like, as a designer, like the curves wise, I don't like Kiko that much.
Oh, really?
Like, I sort of respect it because again, I can tell like it's actual like design innovation. Like he's actively trying to be creative, but it's just not to my taste. But I feel like all the Asics he's done have been amazing.
Yeah, I think sometimes as well, a brand will get more recognition on their collab than they will on the actual solo content.
Yeah,
which is crazy.
It's the reason for doing it, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like, when you see rappers get a feature, it's like Drake's the best example of this. Like, there's so many rappers who objectively are really good, but like, is it like JB Blockboy, for example?
Yeah, man.
If like Drake hadn't had a song with him, I wouldn't have known who he is. It's not to say he isn't good, but I feel like brand collaborations are like that, where sometimes it's getting a cosign from a bigger brand. So like with like North Face, for example, before they were doing Supreme collabs, everyone just thought it was a straight like geography teacher coat, and then as soon as they did the Cream collab, like, everyone was on it. Yeah,
that's a good example actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good example. What I want to touch on, personal style. You could talk about clothing style yourself, but I was thinking more so establishing photographic style.
Okay.
What would be your for young photographers, aspiring photographers? What would be your, I don't know, maybe give 3 or 4 points of how to attack that?
Yeah.
And establishing a personal style.
I'd say the first obvious one is just like experimentation. Like, there's nothing I could say which will be more beneficial than just getting out and just taking loads of photos, because it's by sort of like looking at what you don't like about photos you've done that you realise how to fix it.
Yeah.
Because like when I started out, if I'd like take a bunch of photos with my friends like just in the area and I'd get them on my computer and be like, this doesn't look how I want it to, then I'd have to assess and think, why doesn't it look like I want it to and stuff. So experimentation would probably be the biggest one. I'd say utilisation of the people around you as well. So say like 100%. If you're a photographer like me, and then you have friends who are into making clothes or into styling or do graphics and stuff, they'll need a photographer as much as you might need a stylist or graphic designer or that sort of thing. So I'd say like trying to like collaborate with people around you and surrounding yourself with like mates who have actual goals is really important. Not just for photography, just like life in general.
But we'll transition to the next segment. called quickfire cues.
Right.
So it's pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah.
So we're just gonna fire a bunch of questions at you. Try to answer them as quick as you can.
Right, okay.
Before we tried to set our 5-second rule, but it's not really possible. Okay, so the first one, breakfast or lunch?
Lunch.
Almond or cow's milk?
Almond.
Okay. Canon or Nikon?
Canon.
Mamiya or Hasselblad?
Hasselblad.
Okay. Yo, weave or wig?
Weave.
Okay. Yo, you know this next one? Do you know what FTBT is? Yeah, ugly god.
I've heard of Ugly God.
Okay, so it's face, titties, booties, or toes.
Toes. Wow. Okay. Face.
Okay.
Who's saying toes? I mean,
Some
if
people
you're
out
into
there,
toes,
fam.
fine, but like above all of those other things as well.
Some people are out there.
No, but like, how could you?
Oh yeah, you.
Do you know what I mean? It's like, unless you're in a place where everyone's wearing sandals, how can you know someone's got nice toes before seeing like their face and?
X-ray vision, fam. That's what I'm saying.
Wild.
Superman shit.
Imagine you Superman and using your powers for that. There's a world that needs saving, and you're just staring at people's.
Yo, I
billions
need to
and
see
that.
them toes.
Oh mate.
Lose ability to. What am I on about, man? Would you either, okay, out of the two, lose the ability to create or lose the capability to learn? I feel like we've finished that on a hard one.
Good question. Sorry, say the question again.
So either lose the ability to create
Uh-huh.
or lose the capability to learn.
Capability to learn.
Okay. That's an interesting one because I'm gonna just say my few pence on that one. If you were to lose the ability to create, obviously, I feel like if I'm sad, the number one thing to go to is to create.
Yeah.
So I feel like that'd be the con of not being able to have that. But if you couldn't learn anymore, you couldn't. I feel like learning is growing.
Yeah.
So if you're not learning, you're not gonna grow. So ultimately,
Yeah, but the thing is like you can learn everything under the sun. If you can't create stuff, then all that knowledge is for nothing, though. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
So imagine like within graphics, you learn everything there is about graphics, but you never really are to do graphics again. There'd be no point.
There'd be no point because you can't apply that knowledge.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like learning without the ability to create is just frustrating.
Yeah.
So imagine if you could like,
Imagine.
yeah, imagine like you could go gym every day, lift another 5 kilos every time, and never get any like bigger.
Stronger.
It's just sort of pointless.
Just stick.
Yeah.
Just pure stick.
Oh, it's like if I like had done my masters and I learned everything and then wasn't able to write my essays, so I failed because that's creating something. So yeah, it'd be kind of pointless.
We sum that one. It's done. Okay, so we like to have a little segment in the show as well called Hot Topic.
Okay.
So it's where we pull something out of current news that's trending, and we discuss how we feel about it. So thought, I could have gone typical and said Sudan, right? And the people of Sudan, but I feel like when it comes to things like that, there's enough people giving their thoughts on it, and I feel like I'd be a repeat of that. So we'll go with did you see Louis Walsh, so the X Factor guy?
Oh my days, yeah.
You see the fuckery that he was doing, man.
Mate,
on
he was
that
doing
show.
the most for no reason.
Oh man. So the guy, I was baffled. Like, surely he knew the positioning of the cameras, everything, and the guy has the audacity to grab a cheek, like straight grabs the cheek, like
It's
the
mad.
camera 3, camera 4 is there, just casually reaching.
Yeah.
Not one little squeeze, like a good little whatever his hand was doing.
It's almost like I almost like don't know what you want me to say. I think when something like that happens, everything to do with like sexual assault or harassment, because like you roasted it and it was on camera, it's like that's what sort of like mobilises conversation. But I think we have to think like, why society like allowed him to get to a place where he feels comfortable doing that? Like, if every time someone gets caught doing something mad, they must have done it like 100 times with nothing happening. Like, there's,
Exactly.
do you know what I mean? There's no way. There's no way that that's the first time in his life like he's done that to a woman, and then like, do you know what I mean? It's just the fact that like
there's clearly no consequences.
Yeah, it's just the fact that she actually said, "What are you doing?" and then there's sort of like a Twitter storm around it.
But the thing is, what baffles me is that would have been on camera anyway. So, but I feel like, like you said, the only reason they picked up on that was because she said something.
Yeah, exactly.
And I feel like people that were there live would have picked up on that as well, surely.
Yeah.
Because from seeing it on camera, it looks very obvious. Yeah. So, but like you say, about clearly he's done that kind of behaviour a lot of times to get away with it, which shows that it's clearly an abuse of power. Yeah. And him thinking that because I have this position in the industry, which to be honest isn't even great. Like,
I mean, it's sort of behind the scenes though, like in terms of like pop music and stuff. Like, I guess that word's kind of alien to me because I don't like terrible music. But I feel like he is like quite powerful. But the thing, you know, I don't know. When someone's done something like super obviously wrong in the media, and it is wrong, but I feel as though it can be too easy, like especially as men, to like look at someone do something bare extreme and like villainise them and say how bad it is without necessarily looking at yourself or looking at like the culture that facilitates that happening. Do you know what I mean? So it's kind of like if it wasn't like so normalised to like be booky and like touch people and this sort of thing, then he wouldn't have done that. So as much as it is important to like call him out and villainise people who do like the most extreme version of something, I think it's good to kind of, I don't know, whether it's looking at your personal life or the behaviour of like people around you, or just think like we're in a situation where you can do that. And it's a bit of a deviation, but it's like, you know, have you seen this thing called When They See Us on? Yeah,
a lot of people have told me to watch it. Watch it.
With that, or like with police brutality in America, when you see a specific incident of someone getting shot, it seems like a crazy like anomaly. But really, there's like hundreds of years of contextual information which is predicated that being society normal. Right. So I think like when something like the Ely Walsh thing happens, it can be like it's not just like a soundbite or look how crazy this isolated incident is. It sort of is an opportunity to look at like the wider tapestry of life which is like made that happen.
Yeah, 100%. I think the problem we have, a lot of us have, is that we don't want to take responsibility for like society's actions in general.
Yeah, it's easy to see one person do something, like, oh, that's mad, rather than thinking like.
But it's also easy to think subconsciously, I'm contributing to this, possibly. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Not necessarily in that case, but in other issues.
Yeah.
I can't really think of a good example, but there's a lot of elements to, say, treaty of, let's say, women that maybe we have traits that contribute to the mistreat of women that we don't even realise.
Yeah, I think everyone does, but just part of being old is rather than seeing people doing bad things as cause to villainise them, you can just assess the way people are. So I think most things work in a pyramid sense. So like something I saw at uni which was interesting is like, if you see the pyramid of like white supremacy, for example, at the top might be like a lynching or something, and at the very bottom might be something really innocuous, like, I don't know, telling random black people they look like other black celebrities and stuff. Like, it's just bare annoying, but they're not completely isolated things. So with regards to like misogyny and stuff, there might be like a soul or something mad at the top, but then further towards the bottom there might be just, I don't know, like a gender pay gap or loads of different things, but they all intertwine.
Do you know what needs to be on that pyramid?
What?
People wanting to touch your hair.
Oh, fucking stress, bro. Like, I remember I used to have a flat top and people would always do that. That's the worst.
That's what are the little things like that? Think some.
So many.
There's so many, but I'm struggling to think of some in this moment.
Just repressed it, innit?
Yeah, because you deal with it so like obviously it's different. Being mixed to black. That's another issue that I always talk about to a lot of people, is people that assume that growing up mixed is the same as growing up black. It's completely different. So well, it's not completely different, but it's quite different.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'd say a common being mixed issue. One of the issues that lies in that is people. I think as far as mental health, everyone wants to kind of feel like they fit within a certain box.
Yeah.
But I feel like society doesn't help that a lot of the time with, feeling established somewhere by how they, sometimes the same people will see you one day as black and then see you one day as white.
Yeah.
Depending on what the situ is.
Yeah, that's interesting.
That's the differences between.
Because I've got a friend who's mixed, but she's like half white and half like Arab. So I think her mum's from Lebanon. And she was saying that like in Lebanon, amongst other Lebanese people, they see her as being white because she doesn't look the same as them. But then with other white people, they see her as being like fully like Arabic. Yeah. And it's like when I met, to be honest, like I thought she was just white before like I heard her talk. It's really interesting. Like
wait, say that again, sorry.
So she's half Lebanese, half English. Yeah. She says when she's with Lebanese people, they see her as like a white girl sort of thing. When she's with white people, they can tell she's not like fully English. And then when I met her, to be honest, I thought she was just white. So it's this sort of thing of like, as you say, if people want to put people in like very stringent boxes, I guess if you mix and you don't fit into any of those, that seems quite frustrating.
Yeah, I feel like personally, that was something I struggled with when I was, younger.
Yeah.
But it really does come down to, I sound like preaching, but it comes down to like just self-acceptance, and just the sooner you accept yourself, the sooner, judgments like that don't mean anything.
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
What I mean? You know who you are, and you know the traits, and you know yourself better than anyone.
Yeah,
so the next segment is called Wheel Up. So this is where we basically highlight a musical body of work that we've been rating for the month, and whether you've heard it or not, we'll play it to you. So
it's a plot, unlikely to stop. Watching the clock, tick tock. Life's just a chase for the guap. Get space to the heart and just rock. Yo, I talk nonsense and sport all black 110s.
Yeah, so that was the Odyssey. Like that. Yeah, so we'll round this off by just telling the people what you got going on, man. What you've been up to recently and what's coming in the near future.
Right, so at the moment I'm just finishing off my masters, so I've got one more dissertation to do, then I'm done with that. In terms of shoots, I've got something started coming out this week or next week, but it's a new fashion editorial which I've started myself as well, so I'm excited for that. And then last year I did this thing for Crash magazine called there's an event called United Against Knife Crime, so I photographed like a bunch of musicians who were there, like Dappy and Getz and Ambush and a few other people, and they were basically taking part in like a charity football match to raise awareness about knife crime. So the charity are doing it again this year, and I'm going to be like doing something like a bit bigger for a magazine I do a lot of work for, so I'm looking forward to that coming out too.
Jeez, man, like